I'm Betty Banjack, and this is Look Who's Cooking. And today we have a very special guest. We have Roseanne DiFonzio. And Roseanne is the manager of the cafeteria here at the high school in Norristown. And she does, you think she got tired of cooking, you know, when you're doing it all day, but she does do quite a bit of cooking at home. And she does quite a bit of canning, which is, it's a dying art that's picking up again.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I actually do a lot of canning too. Yeah. And all. So I do mine for competition. We'll talk about that. You should do yours. They're beautiful. They really are.
Thank you.
We're going to start today with eggplant. So you can show us what you're going to do with your eggplant.
Sure. My favorite recipe for canning is eggplant appetizer. And I already have 2 eggplants that are browned in a half a cup plus 2 tablespoons of olive oil. They're already browned, the eggplant. So now I'm going to put in my onions, which is 2 cups of diced onions, and 2 cups.
Smells good. And haven't even started.
And 2 cups of diced celery, and you have to cook that up.
What do you saute the eggplant in? Because she's added the 2 tablespoons of oil afterwards.
Yeah, well, it's a half a cup first.
Oh.
And you're supposed to take the eggplant out and then brown your celery and onion, which I don't have time to do. So the peppers and onions have to soften.
Is it on? No, it's not on. Here, allow me. This is tricky. You know, we tell. Okay, I think it's working.
Okay, so we'll just say that the celery and the onion
we can cook it a little
is
longer.
softened.
Yeah, soften it just a little longer.
Okay. And I usually jar this. My husband likes it fresh over spaghetti when I first make it.
And you said you use this hot, you use it cold?
I love it cold. This is how it is when I can it in a jar. And I'll refrigerate that, and then I just eat it plain. And it's good also with corn chips or on bread or on hamburgers.
So we can hear it cooking now.
Yeah.
Makes it different. We use these little burners here on the show, and they really are wonderful little burners, but you have to sort of have the act of knowing how to use them.
Yeah, it's cooking up nice now.
Okay. Smells wonderful. We have more we're putting in now.
Yeah, now I'll put in the tomatoes. I always use my own jarred tomatoes.
This is your own.
Yep.
Are these tomatoes, are they skinned or?
They're unskinned, but I usually strain it. Sometimes I don't. And if there's some skins that are just like, you know, how they curl after they get warm, I'll just pick it off. Let me get this out of the way.
Miss Neatness, I can tell you. So neat when you cook.
Try to
Everything in its place, right?
Try to. Okay, then after the tomatoes have warmed up, then I throw in vinegar, which is a 1/4 cup of wine vinegar. Has to be wine vinegar. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. Where'd I put the sugar? Pretend that the sugar is somewhere here. But you need 2 tablespoons of sugar and 3 tablespoons of capers.
I'll look.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I'll find
They
them.
were in a plastic bag. Probably left them downstairs in the kitchen.
Well, we'll do without sugar today.
Yeah, but you do need the sugar to take the tartness out.
Of
Okay.
the tomatoes are we talking about, or the eggplant?
Well, it gives it a little sweetness, which does taste good. Okay, and I put in a half a teaspoon of salt and some black pepper, and I use 1 can of black olives sliced.
Now tell me the truth. Did you cut them or did you buy them?
No, I cut them.
You're good. I cheat all the time, you know. I buy them already cut and pretend I cut them.
No,
What can I tell you?
I buy, I think, 6 cans in a case of BJ's, a little cheaper. And the green
That
olives.
wasn't a commercial. That wasn't a commercial.
And the green olives, I buy them whole and then I slice them. Now this is the part that I added in myself to this recipe.
And you put, when I was looking and couldn't find, nasturtium seeds in here, or what was in this little?
This was salt.
There was something that had little buds.
Oh, capers.
Capers, okay. They're
Yeah.
an unusual taste.
That's what makes this recipe good, is the capers. Okay, now this here has to thicken. maybe about an hour and a half. And when it thickens, I usually can it.
Okay.
And I'll get an empty jar. Left that downstairs.
Yeah.
I'll have an empty jar with, where's those lids? Okay.
Oh, I know what you're looking for.
Yeah. I'll have an empty jar. The jar has to be hot and clean. I turn it upside down in boiling water to get the steam to the bottom. Then I turn it right side and I put this funnel on top. And then I'll scoop this when this is complete in here, put the lid on it, and then boil it. Hot water bath.
Yeah, that's really important. A lot of people
Oh yeah,
don't.
it has to be done correctly.
You only have to do it wrong once.
Yeah, because then all
Then
that
you're
work,
dead, you know.
all that work you do is spoiled.
That little funnel you have, I find that really useful. And other things, not just to get the hot stuff. You know, when you're trying to get rice in a bottle and you're transferring stuff, it all is really it helps you get it in easier, so it's not all over the floor and
Right.
thing. So they're
Yeah.
neat to have, even if you're not a big canner.
Yeah, this is nice. So now this here just has to cook down.
It's going to cook down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, my other uses for this,
Yeah, you told me you have lots, so share
Well,
them with us.
like I said, spaghetti, when it's ready, my husband will have this with spaghetti. And
Sounds good to me.
Or sometimes when it's ice cold, I'll get corn chips and I'll just put it in a dish and just eat it like a little
Is there any hot
snack.
peppers in that?
No,
Can I
nothing's
open your
hot.
corn chips?
Sure.
I want to taste it, but I'm not, as everyone knows by now.
You don't like hot stuff.
It's not that I don't like it, I can't really eat it. I just can't get it in. I just taste the little sauce with it, I won't get. Very good flavor. And I don't like eggplant that much. so
Yeah,
that's-
I really like
The
this.
flavor is really excellent.
And another way that you could use this is just say that this is finished. Okay? You could get your favorite pizza crust.
You want me to hold that for you?
Okay.
I'll hold it. Couldn't you just, you had to put this tomato sauce on it? you
Well, I kind of like it,
think? Okay.
you know.
But if you're sort of counting calories, maybe the other, just,
Well,
the topping might be good.
and then what I'll do is I'll just get it like this to get the juice out. And I'll put it on top.
That's a wonderful, healthy pizza.
See, so that the juice won't make it soggy.
You don't put cheese in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ah,
And then you could put your cheese on top. This is just another way.
just another
Another
thing
way
to do.
of using this recipe. And then you could pop it in the oven. You could use your favorite crust, your
Okay, we'll put
favorite
it in.
tomato sauce, and your favorite cheese.
I'm going to put it over here and we can put it in the oven.
Sure.
Don't worry. We'll put it in the oven.
Okay, now some of my other favorite items that I can are bread and butter pickles, and I use it only from the cucumbers that we get from the garden.
Okay.
And I like to make
Are we on this camera? Yeah, thank you.
I like to make jelly from grapes. This is from Concord grapes.
You have your own grape arbor?
We have it's white grapes, but I didn't bring that one with me. But this one is Concord grapes. This is real good.
I'm going to her house soon.
And then I make my own relish from my own garden cucumbers. And we always have a lot of hot peppers,
Yes.
cherry peppers especially.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
And this is just another way of using my hot peppers. I crush them up.
I was going to say, they're all crushed
Yeah,
and
that's just another
they're
way.
gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And what's this one?
They're my tomatoes.
Okay.
That's how I do my tomatoes.
And then
And this
what's
is
this?
regular, this is pepper relish. This is just regular cucumbers. This has peppers in it.
Are they hot?
No,
No, they're like red and green peppers?
yeah.
Sweet. Okay, that's my speed.
And
That's what I
these
brought
are,
today.
I always have plenty of these cherry peppers in my garden.
How big of a garden do you have?
Well, it's not that big. I don't know the dimensions.
Does it take a lot of time in the summer?
My husband, that's his hobby in the summer.
I guess
And
we
he
should
likes-
give him
and-
some credit for this.
Yeah,
Palmer, right?
yeah, Palmer.
DiFonzio.
DiFonzio.
I'm sorry.
That's quite
I
all
know
right.
DiFazio's, and that's why I thought that was your name.
And he likes me to use up whatever he grows. He don't like me to waste anything.
Does he cook?
Not too much.
He lets you do the cooking.
Yeah.
He does the
He helps with certain items. He helps.
Okay, this
Now-
looks like it's really boiling.
Yeah. So I'll have to lower this. So when this sauce gets thick, then I know it's time to can. Like I said, it takes maybe an hour and a half.
Now that's the thickness you can it with. And you don't put
No,
hot
I-
peppers in this.
No, I make it thicker than this, the sauce, to
Oh.
can.
But you don't put hot peppers in
No, no. Now, my husband will take it like this over spaghetti, or he'll just put it in a dish, and he'll eat it just like this, the way it is now.
this. It's beautiful. It's absolutely, really beautiful.
And then my hot peppers I use for pork roast.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We talked about that.
So,
Roseanne brought so much that I sort of, you're going to show us the pork, roast pork. She roasted pork,
oh, you want to show it there?
and she's going to show us. You can tell that Roseanne's in the big-time cooking business by her equipment.
Oh, I borrowed this from downstairs.
You had a place to borrow it.
See, I'll just get this in a paper plate.
Which ones are we doing? The hot pepper?
Yes. And I'll just get a couple peppers.
I think the crew's going to have a feast today.
Whoops. And that's how I,
Okay. Why don't you, we have this?
the
Yeah,
pork.
look at that. That's really wonderful.
Okay. And this
You
here
gonna
looks
use
like
these
it.
peppers anymore?
No, unless
I'm gonna put
whoever
the lid
wants to
on 'em.
scoop them. Okay.
You know, when I was little, or as I always say to my mother, I was never little, you know. But when I was younger, my whole family used to can as a big project. I always thought canning was a 3-day, had to be at least 3 days in my mind. Found out it doesn't have to be. But they would all be cooking and canning, and they'd use the hot peppers, and they'd all be crying and putting their hands in the ice
Oh, yeah.
because it's
I had that
It's
happen.
hot, and that's all. My first memories of canning was not really good ones, and it took many, many years for me to realize that you can can in small amounts for small families. You don't have to have 22 bushels of peppers and
Right.
cry all weekend.
Yeah. And you could cut these up the night before, and I always wear gloves.
Yeah.
And then the next day you could pickle them.
They always wore gloves after they thought about it. You know, they
Uh-huh.
did it, and then they wore the gloves, and then they were sorry because it really hurt. And it did, I could tell. No one was real happy.
And I also forgot to tell you that I freeze pumpkin. My husband grows pumpkin in the garden.
Okay.
And I make little pumpkin breads. In fact, I made a lot of these on Saturday because I'm donating them to the Senior Center on George Street for their May Festival.
The pumpkin breads are just wonderful.
Yeah,
Most people.
I like them.
I created, and I didn't, it's not an original, it's not considered my pumpkin recipe because I've had it for 40 years.
I'll have to try that.
And then I do one with no fat in it, which is much heavier, of course, and much sweeter, and made with applesauce and all.
I'll have
The
to
people
try
that I
that.
really want to watch, I perfected that out of the first recipe. So I think we figured I made something like 5,300 of these layers
Oh,
in
my
a
God.
lifetime. Because making it for 40 years and at
I
least
know.
10 batches, you have to
Yeah.
add it up.
And the other thing that I make is we have 2 pear trees. One's a Claps and one's a Bartley. And I jar my own pears.
Do you live in the town thing or you
Yeah,
live in the
Center,
country?
no, Center Avenue, Norristown.
Sort of
And I
similar.
make pear crisp.
Can we get a dip of that out? Or?
Sure.
There's some plates there. I want everyone to see all this because Roseanne said that if anyone wants the recipe, she would share it with us. Her recipes for all of this, and there's really a lot here. And we're still cooking up the
Eggplant.
eggplant. Oh, I'm going to taste this. This doesn't have hot peppers in it, so I can taste it.
I'll just lower this. Now that's Claps pears.
And what is Claps pears?
It's
I
just
never-
the brand of pears. They're very good for baking.
What time did you get up? This is warm.
I made this downstairs. I had it
Oh.
all prepped at home,
Oh,
and I baked it in the oven. That's a privilege I have.
I know it's warm, so I thought you only made this recently.
No.
So, you're going to wait for that to cook
Yeah.
and wait for me to swallow. I learned a long time ago not to really eat on the camera, but I can't help it.
Mhm.
Food smells so good. I'm going to
Yeah.
eat. I bought in a favorite of mine, which is red pepper relish. It's something like this, like Roseanne's. That's like a Christmas relish, red and green.
Yeah. Now, is this in your book, the one that I bought from you down?
Yeah, Downtown Kitchen.
I'll have to try that one.
I didn't bring them out. I actually brought my books to show everybody.
Uh-huh.
To change. I'm thinking about working on a third book called 3 Cups of Yesterday. I did Downtown Kitchen as my original book, which was a gift to my family for one Christmas, 96 I guess. And it got away from me. I mean, everything happened after that. And then I went with another, then I write a column for the Phoenix in the Phoenixville paper.
Yes.
And my next book was based on the first 88 columns of that. And I'm really thinking about putting a third book together and called 3 Cups of Yesterday, like more stuff. And that, I've been writing that column for 4.5 years. I set out to write it and thought I'd do it for a year because I was told it was like really hard to write a weekly column. And I've been writing it for 4.5 years. And I'm running out of things there. Just a story of my growing up. Well, I only grew up so much and so long, you know.
Yeah.
So I sometimes have to stretch the stories and make them. Everybody, I mean, everyone in Phoenixville, nobody is safe. They can all see themselves in the papers sometime or another. But another thing, I have some of the red pepper relish I had made.
Have
And
to try
it's
that.
good here. I like it with crackers, and I always like plain crackers because you want the taste of what you're eating. That's why I have trouble with peppers too, besides not being able to eat them.
Did you ever try this with cream cheese and then this?
Yeah,
Isn't that
it's
good?
really good, yeah. And I'm going to try one. I'm going to try one on here.
Very good.
And I have to be honest with it, without being real modest, I have to say this. I have entered this about 20 times in competition.
I remember seeing your picture a lot in the newspaper.
And it has won everything from first prize many times down to honorable mention, but it's always come up with a prize so people like it. And my Aunt Sarah's story. My mother told my Aunt Sarah about there's this jar of relish in the refrigerator. And she said, can I try it? And my mom said, sure. And she went somewhere and she came back later. And there's my aunt still in front of the refrigerator with the door open, eating out the bottle of relish.
That's me.
Does that? Yeah.
With the eggplant, ice cold. That's just what I do.
She ate the whole
Right
thing.
out of the jar.
She just ate the whole thing. So how are we doing with our eggplant here?
It's doing fine. It's doing real good.
You know, people, we were talking before about this too, people that, canning is a dying art, you know, or it's on a comeback, I'm not quite sure. But go to the library and check out the books, you know, before you buy a whole bunch and see what you like. I mean, there's some wonderful things out there, and you can always get like a signature dish. Like, you know, one thing you make every Christmas or one thing you make every, and people think you're wonderful. Or the ball cooking canning
I
books.
buy them.
Again, that's not a commercial for Ball. It just so happens that Ball is the premier, and Mason jars are the premier people in putting together the canning goods. They do the jars, and they do all kinds of jars. I mean,
All shapes.
shapes. We have the
Wide mouth.
big jar. Yeah, I had, and they have that. They have this. They have this. And then they have
The little ones.
this, and then there's the smaller one.
I think, that's nice for when you try something new.
Try something new, or
And you
just
don't
want to
wanna
give a little something.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get them in all things, and it's really nice to do.
How I started was when I got married, when I made spaghetti sauce, my mother used canned sauce. And my husband got me into using the fresh. That's jarred. Well, I used to borrow it from my mother-in-law, but then after a while she got mad because I was borrowing too many of her jars. So then I started helping her. And then after a while, then I just started doing it myself. And I do it every summer.
Is your husband like a native from this country?
Yeah.
It's unusual. He's an unusual name, which I like. I think it's a fascinating name. And a lot of times, many people that do come from Italy or do come from other parts of the world, they get all hung up if they want the fresh
Yeah.
vegetables. They want
Yeah.
the fresh stuff, and then
Yeah.
some don't. I mean, they could care less. But I just wondered if, since he wanted the fresh, did he like yours as much as his mother's?
What, my jarred?
Your tomato sauce? Or am I
Oh,
asking questions? I'm sorry.
no, no, it's like his mother's.
It's like his mother.
Yeah.
It's his mother's recipe.
I just, it's just so many. It's a jar of tomatoes and 2 tomato pastes, and
He forgot already, right? But it's just it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing to do with other people. I got into canning because I was a heavy hitter. I had to put it that way in the Philadelphia Harvest Show.
oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
And when you do go there, you just can't say, well, here's my tomatoes, 1 jar. You had to do 3 of everything you did. Well, I'm sort of gotten away from that only because I moved on to the judging part of it and not the canning part of it. And I don't think you should compete against people that are, sort of out there, your audience or things like that.
Right.
I know the Kimberton Fair is coming soon, and they have big time.
I never entered anything.
You should. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
surprising how. It's really terrible. You enter and you take it down and you think nothing of it, and it's worse than having a baby or something. You're a nervous wreck until you go down and you see if you want a prize or not.
Right. Yeah.
But usually it's just a lot of fun. It met a lot of nice people.
Yeah, my husband always told me to enter my eggplant in the time circle,
Yeah.
but
Well, I'll
I
give
never
you some
did.
names and numbers and addresses where like the Philadelphia Harvest Show or the Kimberton Fair, and you might want, it's close enough, and you might want to do it because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
just
it's a hobby.
It is a hobby in itself, and it's a wonderful hobby because you can eat it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do we have next? I guess this is almost done, isn't it, or not?
Yeah. Well, see how wet it is.
Yeah, you still.
Yeah, I would let that get thicker.
It's on, but not much.
That's how I would can it.
Okay, you would think.
The celery and the onion have to be soft.
Okay.
A lot of times I use my garden celery, and that takes longer to cook.
Is it a harder celery?
Yeah, yeah. We always grow. When you use your own tomatoes and your own onions and your own celery and your own eggplant, it really tastes good. But if I want to make it in the winter, I just use my own tomatoes and I purchase everything else.
Yeah, because these are store-bought, and they're messy. But besides that, they're not real hard. You know what I mean? Because they've been around for a while,
Yeah,
so they
but
process them.
the celery from the garden is hard,
Yeah,
and that takes a while.
Are we going to get to see some of it on a nice plate?
Sure.
I want to try the cold, too.
You want it cold?
No, that's fine.
If you want it cold, I'll just open the jar.
No. What's over here?
That one is completed. This one has to be a little longer. You want to taste that one?
Sure.
That one's completed?
Here we go. Put it back in. Cook it a little longer.
Yeah, because that isn't the way. Like
knew
I
she
said,
wasn't happy with that.
it's good if you have over spaghetti.
Oh, yeah, that would be excellent.
That's when it's perfect. Okay.
I only wanted to taste it. Look at this.
Well, it has to look pretty.
You know what I love? I love red peppers. I mean, red peppers and green peppers, I just love, not hot ones. Very good. Can you taste it?
No, I already know what it tastes like.
You sure you know what it tastes like?
Yeah, I have it like this, cold.
Oh, you like it cold.
That's how I like it, right from the jar.
So if we do a little rundown, what did we have here? We have this dish. And we have the pears. Why don't we put the pears up here? And the little cakes, beautiful little cakes.
Yeah, I have to make more of these. The May
I know.
Festival for the Senior Center on George Street. Whoops.
I have a question. Where do you get those nice little pans? Mine are bigger, so.
Oh, Wilton's.
Oh, okay.
There's 9 of them in one pan. They're nice.
I usually get them just a little bigger.
I have them a little bigger, but this pan is connected. They're all connected.
Oh, okay. They're not. I got you.
There's separations,
Yeah.
and then I put the papers in just to make it look pretty. A lot of times I'll get that plastic and I'll you know, like you get on Easter baskets, and then I tie a bow on it.
I'm the
That makes it
foil
look nice.
Pampers queen. You know,
Oh.
because I love to throw it away. I don't want to clean it up.
But I
Miss
think for giving, it looks
yeah,
pretty like
yeah.
that.
It looks like we're going to feed the whole school today or something, and they're all going to be up because I'm sure you can smell this down in the halls and things. So I want to thank you very,
Thank
very
you
much.
for asking me.
And
I'll come back again. Just let me know.
okay, well, next series we'll be back again, and we'll be looking for new guests. So if you're interested, dial the number, or there's the address at the end of the show, and call and talk to me and tell me if you want to be on the show, or write to me, and you can do that. And if you need Roseanne's recipes or want Roseanne's recipes or anything about canning, the same address and the same phone number. And thank you again very
Thank you.
much. And look who's cooking, and we'll see you soon.